You know, as soon as it leaves your hand, you know. You know where it is, you know where it's going. And if you don't, that's when you're trying to figure it out.
Hello, Cornhole people! My name is Adriel Loshak, and with this channel, my goal is to help Cornhole players achieve whatever level they choose. I would like to thank Katie Matthews for being interviewed, and I'd also like to thank her sponsors. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you wait to the end of the interview, there's going to be commentary on her slow motion throw.
I'm Katie Matthews, and I am first year PDC Pro, ACL. Key is flat bag. You can control the flat bag. You cannot control a bag that wobbles out of your hand and on the board. You can't control that. But you can control a flat bag. So what I would do is, I'm personally a seam out person. So the way that I throw, the way that my bag's going to come out is I'm going to have it come seam out. It's all personal preference. I don't like the seam in my hand, and I feel like I can get a flatter bag with the seam out. But I personally like to have the bag here in my hand like this. So that's the way I personally like. You know, you'll see other people, they have like, a butterfly, they hold it really hard. The key is, the object is to get a flat bag. I'm going to teach you not to step because there's a lot going on. But some people feel like they need the step to get it to the board, which I understand. You just can't go past the line. So if you step, you got to be very conscious about that line. So I always suggest not moving, standing up as close to the board as you can, as far up to the board as you can. And that's how I would, show somebody. Yeah, backswing is key, but you need to have, it's a fluid motion. You can't be, a lot of people will get in trouble on this part because your motion has to be, it has to be smooth. Some people come back so fast and then they try to slow it down going this way. The whole speed should be the same way the whole time. A lot of people don't realize, a lot of times we go up thinking that that's the right way, and the first thing you do, everything is forward. So if you watch a lot of the people when they're throwing, everything is going towards the board. So when you get in trouble, that's how I know a lot of times if I'm off, I'm for whatever reason going up instead of towards. So I always want to make sure that everything I'm doing is forward. So again, everything is forward. Everything is forward, not left or right. So you want to do the same thing every time. It's just like in baseball. It's just like in softball. It's any sport, any technique. You're doing the same thing every time. So if you have 12 seconds between each throw. From that bag hitting, you got 12 seconds. So key is, you're doing the same thing every time. So I'm here, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to go forward, flat bag. Of course, we're here, and we're forward. And again, it's the same thing, forward. And it's you working on that same motion every time. Some people like to aim for a spot on a board, or some people like to aim for the hole. I personally always aim for the hole. It doesn't mean that I'm going in. I mean, if I'm going to throw a block, I'm going to throw a block, but the vicinity is obviously the hole. You're just looking at the same spot every time, and it's that motion. So you're feeling, it's a muscle memory anyway, right? So it's all muscle memory. So it's the same thing. So we're here, and we're muscle memory, right? So I'm forward, everything's here. And you can see, I assume you can see my arm and where I'm finishing. So everything is, I'm here because I'm keeping it flat. My throw is probably a little bit different than some, because sometimes I come here, my hand will go this way, which is a little different than some. You know, as soon as it leaves your hand, you know. You know where it is, you know where it's going. And if you don't, that's when you're trying to figure it out. I used to dip more with squats. And when you're in a long day, you're tired, you're exhausted. So I've tried to eliminate that. and just go forward and just come back. So I'm just trying to eliminate as much motion as I can.
Back leg lifts up.
Yep. And I try not to, and it depends sometimes on what the throw is, what I do. Sometimes if I'm trying to go for pick up a bag on the outside, I definitely lift my leg. So it depends, I think, on the shot. A shout out to Black Sheep. These are my bag sponsor. They're great. These are the X's. They're a little bit faster bag. They are their hybrid carpet. And then you have the Red Rums, which are going to be a slower bag, probably a little bit better for blocking cuts. I'm probably opposite compared to some. So some players, I always have my right foot forward. That is my throwing arm, which is opposite of what a lot of people do, because a lot of people, if you watch them, they have their opposite leg. I think because I feel like it makes me keep my arm closer in, and I'm going to stay more consistent for the middle. That's for me. I think you have a lot of motion this way, left to right. This to me makes me feel like I really don't have a choice but to keep it closer to my body, which means I'm going to be more in the middle. Right thrown arm and right leg are always, it doesn't matter outside or inside of the board. That's how I always throw. So I'm always here and I go back. Yeah, as little as possible. I'm trying not to have too much motion, because if you're having an off day, you want to try and figure out what am I off with. If you got so much movement, I feel like it's hard to kind of nail down what you're doing. Fewer moving parts, the better. I think it's you can figure out what you're doing a little bit more. I'm throwing hard and just to the middle. I mean, it's just, again, everything is forward. I'm aiming for the red. I'm aiming for the hole. Airmail, so that's interesting. So airmail, I go actually up. So I actually will go up higher. So I'm here and I cut my wrist a little bit more. So
Exactly the same.
But I'm spinning it harder, and I feel like I'm going higher. That's what it feels like to me, right? I don't know that I've ever recorded myself throwing, to be honest with you. So this is interesting for me. So I'm here. So everything it's still the same motion, but I feel like sometimes you got to go higher, because if you got to drag, you got to be able to have enough velocity to pull those bags in. I aim for the hole. I mean, as far as an aim, I mean, everything is here. Yeah, so everything's just at the hole. So when you're here, I mean, I'm aiming. Everything is going at the hole, and I'm staying in the middle, right? So it's the same thing every time. So if you see where I'm hitting every time, I'm aiming for the hole, and I know that my bag lands right here, and I ride all the way up.
Okay.
It depends, I think, on the player. Some people aim for a spot. Some people aim for the hole. I aim for the hole, and I hit my spot. Can't explain it. Don't know why. I feel like that's just a cornhole thing. I think it's just what you're comfortable with, So I don't know. I always say go for the hole. That's what you're trying. That's your goal anyway. That's your end goal. So I feel like if you're aiming for a spot here, you're probably going to just stay there. So if you're aiming for the hole, that's always the goal, then aim for the hole.
So when you're walking, you aim for a spot?
Yes. So that release is a little bit different. So I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be a little bit higher with it, and I roll my bag over a little bit more. So I'm going to be here, but I'm going to be here, right? So I'm coming over. You always want to throw it higher, and you almost have it, you're turning your wrist over.
One more block.
So it's a different feel.
Katie also hosts a weekly blind draw. The details are right here. I hope all 4 bags go in the hole, and I'll see you next video. And now here's commentary of Katie's slow motion throws. This is how Katie does her slide in. As you can see, her backswing goes far back. It's horizontal with her shoulder. She then has a very, very minimal squat, and her back leg lifts up. She's trying to remove that, but as of right now, it still moves. She then releases the bag a little bit below horizontal, and her arm continues to move up in a nice fluid motion. This is Katie's blocker bag. As you can see, the first half of the throw is virtually identical, a sign of a pro. Her arm goes back really high, parallel to her shoulder, and the squat is the same, and the back leg comes up a smidge of the same. The only difference is she releases the bag just a smidgen later, and then her arm continues to go up a lot higher than the slide-in bag. This is Katie's Airmail. Again, the first half is exactly the same. When we get to the end, you'll see the hand goes up abruptly, goes down about a half an inch, and then goes directly across her body.